Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sayre Limburg, a naturopathic physician in Washington. And today we are going to start to dive into a series written by Clarissa Estes and going to reflect the magic that she brought to the world with her book. So this series will dive into the power of the book in a condensed form so that you too can receive the magic and the discovery that it unraveled. So each episode is going to be a different chapter, and we're going to go over the different lessons and the different stories with journal entries at the end to consider at the expense of your own self-growth into some of the lessons that she provides. So this book has had profound insights for me, and so I want to be able to share this magic with every other woman on earth. And it's hard to read books nowadays, and so I made it so that this series, women don't have an excuse to return to their daring, intuitive, seductive, limitless selves. So this episode is to go over the introduction of Women Who Run with the Wolves. And the author of this book, Clarissa Estes, is a wildlife biologist, psychologist, ethnologist, and storyteller. So this book is a compilation of stories that have been told for generations. Some are stories in which Estes put her own charm into the stories that were passed down from family members as well. So there are the stories that should be in fairy tales as we learned as children and were conditioned to know. And these are the stories that lead us back to our wild nature. It is there that true freedom is found. So these stories summon up an opening to the passageway to find deeper meaning and connection to each and every being on this earth. It is in the stories of the wild women that we have been yearning to connect to, and that the wild woman belongs to us and we belong to her. And it is in her spirit that we try to connect to develop our own power. So Estes writes, for with her, their creative lives blossom. Their cycles for sexuality, creativity, work, and play are reestablished. They are no longer marks for the predators of others. They are entitled equally, under the laws of nature, to grow and to thrive. They know instinctively when things must die and when things must live. They know how to walk away, and wild women know when to stay. So the wild woman has been trying to whisper to you in this course and throughout your life. You will be taught how to listen and bring her into your own life to nourish you, to support you, to love you, and to protect you. And most of all, to free you from this paradigm that we are living in this society nowadays. And to do this, you must create a territory of your own thought and feeling within you and what the wild woman is. So you must call out her name. You must receive her, for she will come if she feels valued. She will stay if she feels like you need her. She is already within us, however. She is already all around us, and she is everywhere, in everything, and in life, and through death. So Estes claims that our society has created a space for us to be fatigued, dry, frail, without inspiration, unaroused, shame-bearing, stuck, crazed, powerless, caught in cycles, and limited. And it is our time to align with our unleashed power of being a role model, a teacher, a leader, intuitive, seductive, and strong. It is not by accident that the pristine wilderness of our planet disappears as the understanding of our own inner wild nature fades. So I think what Estes is trying to say is that there is no coincidence that our environment is falling apart at the same rate as our own intuition and connection to ourselves that are being lost. So our environment is the exact reflection of what turmoil is inside of us too. And here's why. Every interaction you have with someone else or event that keeps cycling, those are your reflections of lessons needing to be learned for your own self-growth. Those types of people and those recurring events will keep happening unless you don't reflect back onto yourself and learn the lesson that is being sent to you, and vice versa. So when there is a trait that we don't like about ourselves, we can sometimes try to fix, change, or influence someone else into a different way, but that is a reflection of what we want to change about ourselves. So what do we do about this is to learn about ourselves in the other person or in the event. So when others get mad at you, reflect on yourself whether you feel this way about yourself or the world. So some people, even the ones that you don't like, can teach you something about yourself and how to accept different parts of yourself. So once you start looking at the world as if it's working with you and for you, you can take a look at yourself in every situation and love yourself in every situation. And that is when you will grow. Then you will be able to get out of this cycle. Then you will be able to rise above it all and become who you were meant to be. So when the events that occur that are hindering you from your dreams and are blocking you, think about if you are 100% committed, where your limiting beliefs are about yourself. Or if you trust yourself or the universe to put you in the right direction. It is time now to accept and trust ourselves that this is the lesson that needs to be taught and follow through with that lesson. A lesson that I learned when my mother died is that I didn't 100% trust my own decisions and looked for advice from others and searched desperately for advice that didn't actually pertain to what I wanted to do. And I always looked from advice from my mother, naturally, because you want to make your parents trust you. And sometimes they make you rethink every decision you ever made. But when other people are your mirrors, this can be a good thing as well. Consider this perspective. If someone is inspiring you and doing what you want to be doing, take that and try to implement that and those traits into your life. Think about how you can support yourself and guide yourself in that direction towards your role models. So see if the world is a mirror reflection of yourself. You must learn and connect, get to know, heal, love, and heal yourself. It is in this nature we are connected in union. So through past, present, and future. It is in this union that you are connected to your unique, limitless power. Estes writes, so by these methods, we are able to recover the ways of the natural instinctive psyche, and through its personification in the wild woman archetype, we are able to discern the ways and means of women's deepest nature. So why she talks about relating women to wolves is because of her in-depth study as a wildlife biologist. So she noticed striking similar characteristics, such as wolves are keen, sensing, playful spirit. They have endurance, strength, devotion to family or their pack. They're intuitive and very adapting. So women have been characterized derogatorily like wolves because of being crazy, manipulative, a bitch, and over territorial at times. But it is time to change that perspective of women's relation with wolves and transition to the power of the wolf. It is time to conquer the societal norm to not just tolerate the woman's wild nature, but to bask in the woman's self-decoration. It is time to question what was suppressed and embraced, and actually embrace one's own body. Women who were tightly muzzled and considered nice need to be unleashed from speaking their truth. It is in this book that Estes talks about the teaching of how to recognize your conditioning of being restrained and being like everybody else, and being able to let go of the judgment of what a woman should be like. So in school, it is not taught to be unique and unleashed. It is not taught how to connect to nature by choosing to follow in the footsteps of your own uniqueness. It is in this book that you will discover your creative fire and burn preconceived notions of what is the norm. A woman's issue of soul cannot be treated by carving her into a more acceptable form as defined by an unconscious culture. Instead, the goal must be the retrieval and succor of women's beauteous and natural psychic forms, as Estes says. So here is your chance to start over. And here is your chance to learn how to change your perspective that you are not enough. This is your time to develop your strengths. So why not tune into the wild woman magic? If you have a deep scar, that is your door. If you love the sky and the water so much, that is your door. If you yearn for a deeper life, a full life, a sane life, that is your door. And that is the door to be able to meet the wild woman. And this is my favorite quote from the introduction at the end of the chapter, so listen close. So to find merit is necessary for women to return to their instinctive lives, their deepest knowing. So let us push on now and remember ourselves back to the wild soul. Let us sing her flesh back into our bones, shed any false coats we have been given, don the true coat of power, instinct, and knowing, infiltrate the psychic lands that once belonged to us, unfurl the bandages, ready the medicine. Let us return now, wild women howling, laughing, singing, up the ones who love us so. For the issue is simple. Without us, wild woman dies. Without wild woman, we die. Para vida. For true life, both must live. I read this and synthesized this as the power of the wild woman is to be a phoenix at any stage of life, to find grace in chaos, and to step into your own power of freedom when you thought all was constrained. So here we start on the journey to uncover, play, and experience, discover, develop, and devote, and mostly deliver the inner wild woman in you for all women, for all humanity, and for the world. So some reflection questions that I may recommend you journaling about with some of the lessons in the introduction is: number 1, what is a wild woman to you? Number 2, write a description of yourself as a wild woman. And 3, think about how you can support yourself and guide yourself in that direction towards your role models. What supporting steps can you take to get there? Thank you so much for listening to the introduction of Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Estes, and I look forward to the next episode with chapter 1 and starting to read the stories. Have a great rest of your day.